I think that's a good second question for me. And again, it's a practical question. You're ready. You've rallied your courage, and you're willing to like try again. And it's scary because you got to go out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. What do you advise the people that you work with, or the people listening today, when you're going out of your comfort zone? Watch for this. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Like what's that? One of those one or two watchwords for the listeners today to reassure them that it's going to be okay.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a very good one. We said it's scary, which means that we have fear, right? And that is one of the biggest things that people want to learn. What do I do with my fear? Because I'm too afraid. And I do have a process on that if they even go to my website, you can sign up for my newsletter and get a free download of this fear process that I work people through. And it's called Tame Your Fear Through ROAR, ROAR, to where basically what is happening is I tell people, I said, fear is always going to be with you. For anyone who says, oh, I'm fearless, it's words. And I'm going to question you and say, really, are you fearless, or do you get a little oomph when it comes up, but you've dealt with it? And they'll go, oh, I've dealt with it. And I'm going, totally different thing. Because what happens is, if you think about it, fear, as we learned from our ancestors, was one of those things that it meant we had to fight or we had flight. We ran. Saber-toothed tigers, guess what? We're fighting it or we're going to run away, because that was a fearful state. In this time frame where we're pretty safe in this world, our fear shows up as what I typically would call frozen moments, which basically means you're exhausted, you get distracted easily, you zone out, watching reality TV shows, surfing the internet, those kitten videos, animal videos on Facebook, because you're afraid of something. If you own your own business, you may be afraid of making cold calls or picking up the phone. If you're in the corporate world, you may be afraid that you're going to fail at a certain project or you don't know how to do it, so why even begin? That is typically how our fear shows up for us today, in those subtle ways of exhaustion, zoning out, distraction. I'd rather go do the laundry than have to work on my business sometimes, because I just am so fearful of whatever it could be. That one phone call could change my life, and oh my God, I'd be successful, and I wouldn't have the same friends that I have today. Things like that. And so what you have to do is to recognize when your fear is showing up. What does it look like? What's your modus operandi, I guess you could say. And again, it takes that conscious awareness to recognize if you're distracted and not making phone calls or not working on a project that you need to. That's when you recognize your fear showing up, and here's what you're doing beside that. So that's the first R. Then you've got the O, where you open up to whatever feelings you have going on at that moment. Recognize those feelings and saying, okay, so I'm feeling this, and it may be exhaustion or whatever, and it's a behavior that's showing up in my life. I'm watching TV, I'm surfing the web, I'm whatever, And so what you have to do next step after that, once you open up to the feelings and behaviors, is then choose, because we always have a choice, and accept that you can change your feelings and your behavior. You can just suck it up, pick up the phone, put a smile on your face, and make that first phone call. Does not matter. Or you can start putting numbers in a data and analyzing that data for that project, whatever it is. The starting is what stops most people. And that's where you have to accept that you can feel differently and change your behavior. Now, the last process of ROAR is really two. It's an R and an R. And it's
yes. I love that.
Because you really have to relate release the old and replace it with the new.
Okay.
With the old patterns with a new pattern. Because most of us, what we'll do is we'll just release the old and go, oh, I'm good, but not replace it. And, the universe that just hates a void. It just doesn't want anything like that. And so when you release something, you've got to replace it, or you get drawn back to your old familiar pattern. And then you get stuck. And getting stuck is not fun. We don't want to stay in a stuck moment. And as long as we recognize that what we're doing with this 4-step process is we're taking our fear that is keeping us stuck and in pain, and we're turning it into a motivator for us. We're turning it into our friend to say, yeah, I'm scared and I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And there's your choice with everything.